Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis. Let's seek the truth and travel the long road to justice together. What you know, Alibiers? Welcome to another episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. I'm Gigi. What a day, y'all. Oh my gosh. We're going to jump in, but first, if you're watching on YouTube, you know the drill. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video, share it with your friends, and you can ring my bell if you want notifications. When I post new content, click the little bell icon. Music fact of the day. What is the most streamed song from the 90s on Apple Music? That goes to Oasis with the amazing song Wonderwall. Y'all, holy moly. Before we get into the drama from today, quick little announcement. Tomorrow at noon Eastern, me and Laura Matthias are going to be on STS podcast together. I'll live stream that on my YouTube page as well. Tune in. Can't wait to talk to two of my favorite ladies about this case. Speaking of the case, I'm going to tell you guys, I would not have wanted to see a blood pressure reading on myself for a couple of hours there while we were waiting. If you haven't heard yet, let me just tell you what happened today. The state rested. Pryor asked for a direct verdict, and that's really typical in cases. He said there's no evidence Chad was there for the murders of JJ and Tylee. Judge Boyce announced the date on the filed amended indictment pertaining to the murder of JJ had the wrong date. It had the date for Tylee, September 8th through the 9th. There was a very real possibility today for a while that count number 4, which is the murder of JJ Vallow, could have been tossed out. John Pryor says they rested. They shouldn't be able to amend the indictment. So we're all like, holy moly, like this is bad. The state wanted to argue this on Monday. Judge Boyce said you got 2 hours. He was concerned he could not properly instruct this jury with the wrong dates where testimony had not been heard about those dates, but rather the 22nd and the 23rd, which are the actual dates for JJ. Of course, Chad's going away forever, in my opinion. But the last thing anybody wants, though, is for this murder charge for JJ to be tossed out the window due to a typo, essentially. Judge Boyce came back in the 10 minutes that he read through the others and denied all of those. Felt like forever. Finally, he gets to this issue with JJ. He said that the previous amendments were approved and the date on JJ's murder count was changed and it's a clerical error. He also said there were valid witness testimonies, sufficient evidence provided by the state, and most of all, the court did not authorize that February amendment in which that typo was made. He also points out the court raised the issue, not the defense. He's going to have to figure out how to fix this problem, but at the end of the day, the motion was denied. It was such a relief. The charges, count 4 for the murder of JJ Vallow stands. Hot mess, y'all. But it ended okay. But man, you just feel for Kay and Larry having to sit there, just another gut punch. There is no court tomorrow. On Monday, the defense case starts. I'll be there for that. Make sure you're following along in chat. I'm going to be putting in some observations from the courtroom throughout the day. I'm not going to live tweet the trial. Nate Eaton's got that covered, doing an amazing job. I can't top it, so not going to try. I'll make my notes for my episode. The state called 67 witnesses, and their very last witness, FBI agent Doug Hart. He walks through a timeline of events and clarify some things for the state. Let's go through it. Some of it is repetitive from yesterday, so I'm not going to dive into what was repetitive. March 20th, 2019, Lori texts Alex that she's finding out some great stuff about him. She said she's going to do some sealings and can't wait to share with him what she's learned about him. She says, you're going to like it. It explains a lot. He says, okay, hurry up, please. Lori says she's going to check everything with her source tonight. Make sure it's right, but it's good, and they can talk about it tomorrow, hopefully. The witness points out it indicated Lori herself did not have this information. Who would she go to? Chad. These texts continue over the next few weeks. July 18th, 1 week after the murder of Charles Vallow, Chad texts Lori, I've been instructed to focus my efforts on Hillary, so I will. Lips emoji. Hillary being Tylee. Lori texts back, okay, find out her percentage for me and JJ's. Now, just a reminder, the death percentages, the closer you are to 0 or 100 means the closer you are to death. Chad texts Lori, Tylee is at a 0.13. I turned up the pain to 10 and placed a spiritual virus in her. He, meaning JJ, is at a 99.99. Raphael visited him and told him to follow Amy to the light. I assured him that James would love and take care of his mommy, which he will with all his heart and soul. Raphael, being Chad, the witness said they do not know who this Amy is. Lori says, that's sweet. I miss you desperately. Chad tells Lori she's adorable, wonderful, angelic, heavenly, luscious. So many fine attributes rolled into one dynamic, desirable package. I want you even more desperately than you want me. And there's 2 kiss emojis. Just grab me by the storm and I'll follow you to the ends of the universe. Lori says, when might that be? And Chad says, Wednesday evening, and then repeatedly till Friday. They talk about the storm, and Lori says, then what? Back to crying and saying goodbye? Back to the box? Chad says the trip to Utah has a lot of finality to it, and extreme changes are coming for him. Prosecutor Blake asks what that means, and the witness says within 3 months, Tylee, JJ, and Tammy are all dead. July 20th, Lori asks Chad, what is Blake's percentage? Blake, young son of Melanie's and Brandon Boudreaux. Lori says he drew 3 crosses on the wall in his bedroom. We just finished painting over them, like he was marking it for the dark side to find him. Chad said Blake is at a 7. Then Chad said he took his sword and sliced his aura vertically in several places. You should be able to rip and burn it now. I also decreased his pain tolerance to 1% and greatly increased his pain. His desire to part is 80%. The witness says this is a child, and Chad is talking about increasing his pain. He also talks about increasing Tylee's pain. July 23rd, Lori asked Chad to check JJ. Weird things happened in the middle of the night. It's like they distracted us with Blake. 10 hours later, Lori says, when you get home, check Tylee. She's being super sweet and helpful, and she cleaned her room. See if she was switched. Totally not her. Chad texts back, yes, she was switched. Please let me know when you can talk and I'll explain it. The witness again points out Chad needs to explain this to Lori. July 26th, Lori again asked Chad to check JJ. She said JJ was calm, watched movies all day, which he would never do. Missing you, Chad says, miss you too. JJ is still JJ. I'm told she is lying about him being calm and watching movies. Lori said Melanie knew. She called me. She felt the real Brighton last night and knew she was different. She was told and is taking it well and knows it's part of a big plan. She's amazing. I'm pretty upset over it. I love you. Trying to hang in there. Miss your kisses. Brighton, another child of Melanie's and Brandon's. Thank goodness, y'all. Brandon took charge and took his kids out of there and kept them from Melanie's, even though she was standing in people's driveways saying the Holy Ghost said my kids were here. July 29th, Lori and Melanie are driving to California with the kids. Chad texts Lori, do you want me to cause pain to the 2 3s you're riding with? Lori says to wait until they arrive. They'll be miserable to deal with. I'll text if they start acting up and we can zap them. Chad says that sounds great. If they're going to act up, we will give them a reason to scream. I love, cherish, and adore you. You're mesmerizing. Wonderful memories just keep coming back. Raphael is one lucky guy. July 30th, Chad texts Lori he got inspiration to go back to his original death percentages. That helped track Charles, Ned. Tammy is very close. Her percentage has fallen steadily since Iplos left. It is encouraging. You're looking at a couple of weeks here after Charles is shot. You see very quickly Lori and Chad already working on JJ and Tylee. And now Tammy. Lori asked Chad, what is the percentage now? What about JJ? Chad says Tammy is at a 3. JJ is at a 2. He says they're both being heavily shielded to stop intruders. The witness points out these are Chad's death percentages. Lori says 2 and 3%, not 0. He says he will explain when they talk, and Lori says, okay, still feeling hot for you. Chad says they may need to release a little steam when they talk. Chad says that this is the chart that checks what percentages mortals are at. He said it worked for his friend's wife who died, his neighbor, George Bush Stanley. He said, I forgot about it because we've been dealing with zombies and demonic entities. Tammy said she was lightheaded as if her body and spirit weren't connected. He said he will update the list and figure out Adam and Brandon. The percentage chart, by the way, never found by investigators. They show a photo of Alex and Chad photographed separately. This was on August the 7th, 2019. It was in front of some artwork inside of a church. Alex texted Lori the photo of Chad and said, look at the bubbies. Chad texted Lori the photo of Alex and said, two exalted beings. The same day, Lori texts Chad that she loves him and they're taking Braxy home. Lori says she will check on her and that she's asleep. She put a bunch of holes in the walls and doors. Definitely had demons helping her, probably 1,000. Melanice wanted them to come up to Idaho the next day. Lori said Thursday to Sunday. She asked Chad what he thinks, and then she says, we're both so tired of taking care of demons. We are weary. Please ask the Lord to take them. August 10th, Lori to Chad, check JJ. He just woke up saying crazy stuff and he won't go back to sleep. He's talking to Blake. It's weird. Chad replies, JJ is still JJ. I'm told his spirit recognizes Blake is evil and is unsettled by him. Later, Chad texts Lori asking how JJ is now, and Lori says he's better. Was up talking nonsense for 2 hours last night. I'm sure they were bugging him. Is he at a 0 yet? I miss you. Chad says he is at a 0. He says JJ was likely partially through the veil talking to both light and dark people. Lori says maybe talking to the real Blake, and Chad says yes. Lori says, do you think there is a perfectly orchestrated plan to take the children and we just have to wait for it to be carried out? I feel lost, like I should be doing something to help. Chad says there is a plan being orchestrated for the children. I was shown last night how it fit together, but it has been taken from my mind, of course. The prosecution asked, where were Tylee and JJ's bodies found? The witness says on Chad's property. Lori asked, what should she be doing? And Chad said she's doing everything right. The Lord said she's on track and to keep working on the telestial issues so you're unencumbered and fully free. Lori says it feels good. JJ was talking to the real Blake, getting close. When I was sitting across from him eating bacon, I sensed he was barely attached to his body. Chad says she's incredible, and in many ways, her mission has just begun. Lori says, as long as it ends with you, it's all good. Chad says, cheek to cheek, loin to loin. Lori said, I wish we were cheek to cheek. Chad says he can't stop crying. He was allowed to feel his own emotions. The love, the admiration, and reverence he has for her is indescribable. Everything we do together will be spectacular. Lori says she can't wait. Literally can't wait. She has no patience and wants him now. Chad says he's her biggest fan. I love you. Hold on. We're close to the finish line. She says she's trying. He says we will make it. The witness says the finish line is the plan. The plan is to be without JJ, Tylee, Tammy, and Charles. September 3rd, Alex to Lori. Wi-Fi is in. What you doing? Lori said she's working on Z's. She asked, what did he decide on the username and password? The network is anti-layman. The password is the number 2 many kids. Lori says funny. Alex says he can change it to whatever she wants. He tells Lori he's proud of her. No more Z's. Lori says they're trying to get to the bottom of what they need to do to eliminate them completely. I'm sure you'll be told also. Alex says, excellent. 5 days after the message about eliminating zombies completely, we see the video from Yellowstone, the photo that we all were so familiar with. I'm playing this on YouTube now. It was actually a live photo, and you see JJ and Tylee moving. And it's very sweet, and it's so sad to watch. You see the love there. They're carefree. They have no idea what's about to happen. Breaks my heart to see it. They also show the video of JJ. Yes, this is a live video. You see him moving there in the red pajamas. The last photo taken of that sweet boy. They go through the text between Lori and the babysitter from September 24th. That's one day after JJ was buried in Chad's backyard. Lori tells the babysitter JJ is with his grandparents until the end of October. Lori says she's likely going to travel while he's gone, probably to Hawaii. She said she would let her know when they got back. October 5th, they go over Lori talking about her and Chad going on a date. might need to stay in. Also, Chad texts Lori, big news about Tammy. She's been switched to Viola. He tells Lori to get confirmation on this and says he has checked 3 times and gets a more affirmative answer each time. He says he's not sure of the time for removal, but once her actions verify the difference, he doesn't want to wait. He complains Tammy's sister Samantha hasn't read his books, been his biggest enemy over the years, threw a fit when they moved to Idaho, and only came to visit when the kids got married and then fled Idaho within hours like she was being burned. He says she's comparable to Brandon and Summer. That would be Lori's sister. Move on to the text informing Lori that Tammy has died. Of course, Lori acts surprised. She's in Hawaii. Lori texts Chad the day Tammy died at 9:52 p.m. She says Hawaii isn't fun without him and asks if he can call her. She says, "How are you doing?" is the question. Chad says he's hanging in there. His parents are staying there and they're getting visitors, but he will call soon. Just after midnight on the 20th, less than 24 hours after 911 was called and Tammy was pronounced dead, by the way, Chad says that percentage in body, and he names 3 names. I have no clue what they mean, but he tells Lori, great job on lowering them. Loved talking with you. It's a baby night, so come get me later. Missing you so much. I can feel you in bed with me, though. Can't wait to truly hold you tightly every night and day. Lori says, I miss you more, need you desperately. Can't wait. The witness says with the murders of Charles and Tammy, there was no expression of grief ever by Chad or Lori. The text where Lori asked if she should come home to him or him come to Hawaii, Chad said for her to come home. He wants to spend the night with her that Thursday. He also wants Lori to look for condominiums and they can go back the first week in November. He says he has financial stuff he has to do. Chad talks about the Lily workout plan. Lori loves that plan. She says, not soon enough. This is torture. Maybe you need to clear my mind so I can't remember how much I love you. Chad says he'll try. Feels like Raphael and Lily are together at about 100%. Not sure it'll ever be lower again. Lori says that's true. I do feel you and I feel lovesick. Can't sleep, don't want to eat, just want you. Is so consuming. Chad says, I know exactly how you feel. I'm feeling sad, but it isn't for the reason everyone thinks. Jumping to October 23rd, Lori texts Chad, I had a dream about Al. Make sure he is still him and protect him. He would be the one they use to get to us both. All this alone time is not good for him. Chad says he'll try to reach out to him later today. A little later, he texts Lori, I just cleared all of Al's weapons, curses, and cords and filled him with malachite healing balm. I also put angels around him. The witness says something Alex knows is a risk for Lori and Chad. He said he believes the they that Lori refers to is law enforcement of who would get to him. On cross, Pryor asked if it's fair to say you would look at the new husband if there are missing kids. The witness says you have to keep an open mind and you can't put blinders on. Pryor asked if the FBI uses mediums to try to talk to children who are deceased. The witness says mediums do come forward often, but the FBI does not have mediums on staff. Pryor asked about someone named Allison DeBose, and the witness says she's a medium, but he does not know her abilities. Pryor asked, have they used a medium to get information about missing kids? The witness has never talked to her nor asked for this medium's help. Pryor asked if Chad having spiritual gifts is unusual. The witness doesn't think it's common. Pryor talks about the August 11 text where Lori says, is that what he wants? For me to sit around and wait endlessly and you miserably wasting time? It doesn't feel right. Chad said he agrees it feels drawn out. Pryor asked the witness if Lori is manipulating Chad, and the witness says, yeah, they both manipulated one another. They read more of that text. Lori says to give all your love to your family and your wife. We have nothing until things change anyways. Pryor asks if this is Lori manipulating Chad, and the witness says yes. Redirect. She asked if in his investigation he also found Chad manipulating Lori. Yes. Where was Tammy Daybell's body found? In her bed. JJ and Tylee? In the pasture of Chad Daybell's property. Nothing further. State rest. Then we had the drama. Don't forget tomorrow, noon, STS. Me, Lauren Matthias, and the COE hanging out, talking Daybell. And from there, I will see you guys in Boise Monday morning. I'm going to try to go live, waiting in line to get in. So have a good weekend. We will see you